Well, good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. As you just saw, there's a new look to the opening of our program. Starting today, you'll begin to see some of the changes we've made, and in making the changes, we thought you'd enjoy seeing some of the ways that the look of Across the Fence has transformed since our debut in 1955. Joining me is producer Will Michael. Our viewers have just seen the new opening. What else are they going to see?
I should probably start by saying that this is a change in the look. It's not a change in the content that the viewers have come to rely on us or enjoy over 59 years. So the changes include the new open that the viewers just saw. At the end of the program, they'll see a new close, and in between, they'll see some changes in the graphics, the way that your name comes on the screen, or where we give phone numbers and things like that. The last piece I just want to mention is, for the first time ever in the history of Across the Fence, we'll have credits for the program. So people like Roger Lewis, who's worked on this program for more than 25 years behind the scenes as a director, will finally be acknowledged publicly for the great work he does, or people like Gene Keefe, who are in my office at UVM Extensions providing program support. So I'm really quite proud that we're publicly recognizing the folks behind the scenes and their role in the success of our program.
There are a lot of great people involved.
Couldn't do it without them.
Right. Well, change isn't always easy. It's going to take some time to get used to, maybe.
Again, that's why, I underscore it's in the look, it's not in the content. And we also know, and we'll touch on social media a little bit later, viewers have all kinds of ways to communicate with us. They can tell us, and they do, what they like, what they don't like. So while change may be not difficult, if people have feedback, there's going to be all kinds of ways. You'll see it in the credit, the email, the Twitter, the Facebook. There's all kinds of ways to let us know what their thoughts are.
And who did the work?
Again, television is a collaborative medium. Supporting you and me are people like associate producer Keith Silva, or folks, as I mentioned, like Roger and Gene. But I did want to give special emphasis to Alex Martin of Essex Junction, who's an independent graphics designer who really laid the foundation for everything, and also Phil Scharf, the production manager here at Channel 3, who essentially put all the final touches together and with his crew did all of the final work to get where we are today. And
so, Will, remind me, when was the last time there was this kind of a change to Across the Fence?
As you noted, the debut in 1955, there have been many, but the last look change came in 2005. And we put together a little piece that we thought would be fun to look back at the opens of roughly the last 30 years and to hear from my predecessors and how they ushered in the changes that they made. So we'll take a look at that.
Excellent.
The Extension Service of the University of Vermont presents your daily farm and home program, Across the Fence.
The Extension Service and the Experiment Station of the University of Vermont present your daily farm and home program, Across the Fence.
The Extension Service and Experiment Station of the University of Vermont present your daily farm and home program, Across the Fence. The Extension Service and Experiment Station of the University of Vermont present your daily farm and home program, Across the Fence. The Extension System and Experiment Station of the University of Vermont present your daily farm and home program, Across the Fence.
University of Vermont Extension and the Vermont Agricultural Experiment Station present the nation's longest-running farm, home, and community program, Across the Fence.
Through the years, there have been subtle changes in the look of Across the Fence, but from the beginning, Extension specialists have been sharing their knowledge. Karen Christensen produced the program from 1956 to 1975.
The studio was in an old warehouse overlooking the Winooski River, and the only access to the studio was through the secretary's office. we had black and white television only, and the only visuals we used were black and white 16mm film that I had to shoot out in the field, and Polaroid black and white pictures that we mounted on flip cards and put the camera on the flip card and then flipped one card after the other. Amazing. These were the two visuals we used. We trained as needs were. I don't think we did enough training, but you know, we were all new. We had never been on television before, and it came out, and very, very quickly we had about 4 or 5 specialists who really took on and who were really, really appreciated by the audience.
Those early days of Across the Fence are preserved in photographs only. The programs were done live, over the air. When the program featured animals, well, the animals were brought in live.
If something went wrong, it went wrong. And yeah, we had, once we had a bird in the studio and with our bird specialist, and it was a little parakeet, and he was sitting on, we were rehearsing, and the bird sat on the top of his hand, and just 1 minute before we went on the air, the bird just took off and flew up. We did a 50-minute program about birds without the bird.
In 1975, a young man arrived from public television to take the reins here at Across the Fence. Lynn Jarvis would go on to produce this program for more than a quarter century, ushering Across the Fence into the electronic era.
We moved from live television to video so we could tape the show usually about a day prior to airing. This made life a lot easier, but I really miss those days of live television. There was nothing like it. And during that time, we moved from black and white to color, and I think that added a whole new dimension to the show. Then the communications technology really exploded. We used to have to do our graphics with an old printing press. They could be done with a computer. We were able to take portable cameras and travel to all parts of Vermont. And of course, going through that was always challenging but exciting, and a wonderful time to be in television.
Well, I think it's still a wonderful time to be involved in television, especially this program with its history and traditions and its loyal viewership. Judy, I am biased, of course, but having grown up with the program, now having the honor and privilege of producing it, I take a lot of pride in the fact that, again, we do have that history and a connection with the viewers, and looking forward to these changes and hearing from feedback from folks.
Well, joining us now is Associate Producer Keith Silva. Now, Keith, you're in your 18th year?
Yes.
What kind of changes have you seen?
Judy, I'm going to do the unwriterly thing and say, the more things change, the more things stay the same. We're not supposed to use cliches, but I think it's very, very interesting. When we used to go out on those shoots with Lynn, whether it was Belmont or Burlington or Bennington or wherever it was, people would always say the same thing. What do you love about this town? And they would say, it's the people in the place. And that's still so true today. When we go out and we meet with people, they still love what they do. When we meet with farmers, they still love where they live. I've yet to meet someone who doesn't like living in Vermont, I guess.
That's excellent. Now, you run the Across the Fence Twitter account. What kind of reactions are you getting from folks?
We get great reactions from people. We get people who retweet us. Of course, not everyone follows us on Twitter at WCX_Judy.
I know, I have to be better. You can be my tweeter tutor.
Oh, all right. Yeah, great. We get great reactions. People love the show. One of the things that people are very interested in is food, of course. So anything that we have to do with food or food safety or whatever, that's always front and center. And farmers, as always, are always ahead of the curve when it comes to most things, and social media is no exception. For followers or friends of farmers, they're always front and center, as I found out not too long ago.
As a chef, Charlie Menard is always looking for the freshest produce. So when he saw that his friend, Nick Laskowski, had posted this photo of organic, locally grown shiitake mushrooms to the Facebook page for Nick's Dana Forest Farm with the caption, "Any takers?" Menard knew what to do.
I said, well, I'd love some. And he came over with the logs, and he and I actually cut the mushrooms off the logs ourselves. And, that kind of connection is just so real, to be able to feel that, to harvest it with the grower. I mean, it's amazing. He took a quick picture, probably with his you know, camera, phone, whatever it was, and did it all at once. And I received that information, you know, instantaneously. And, you know, and the connection was made. It's a mini chamber of commerce.
The picture that Menard saw marked 2 firsts for Liskowski, his first crop of the season, and the first sale for his farm.
To be connected with local restaurants is exactly how I want to be, it seems the fastest way to do that is through some sort of social networking site, and it's just easy to be in touch with people that way.
The connection that Liskowski and Menard made over mushrooms makes marketing a product feel less like a hard sell and more like a suggestion from a friend, which it is. Farmers are finding Facebook the perfect way to keep their customers connected and as a tool to market their products at the click of a button. And some farmers are finding they don't even have to do the clicking.
His wife came and he bought the steak. So everybody knew what they had for dinner that day, and it was from our farm, so that's great. And it's a free marketing. That's also, you can compete with that price, free.
Rocio Clark and her husband John run Apple Cheek Farm in Hyde Park. The farm specializes in pasture-raised poultry and beef. Along with plowing the fields and pasturing the animals, adding photos and videos to the farm's Facebook page has become just another chore.
And I highly recommend people, if you want to get in social media, you have to take the time. If you feel that you have no time for that, don't do it, because people follow you and they want to know what's going on. And if you don't do updates, people just stop going to your page. So it is another chore. We do farm tours. We have a store at the farm. We have to tell people what we're doing, and I think this is the best way to do it.
Marketing has to be a part of any farm's business plan. So it begs the question, was there marketing before Facebook?
Well, it was a lot of hands-on, putting up posters and flyers, calling chefs, calling customers when products were in. It was a lot more hands-on, definitely. It also helped a lot that I brought in a social media guru, so that cut back a lot on the marketing chores that I had myself.
All right, you ready? And go.
Hi, I'm Farmer John, and we're here doing another Apple Cheek Farm video update.
It's actually kind of cool because we've got this really small camera, Flip HD, and it weighs about 3.5 ounces, but it still takes very high quality video. Allows me to be mobile and carry it in my pocket at all times. So as I'm out in the fields, or Johnny's out in the fields, or we're all running around here, I'm grabbing this footage of things that happen throughout the day, and grab these little snippets of video, and then basically sit down and take about 6 to 10 hours and put it all together and compile it. I think there's definitely a large contrast between sitting in my pajamas and editing video and being out here in the rain and the sun and working the fields. But just like anything else that goes on the farm, it's a responsibility, it's a task, and we make a point to get it done.
See, I like that. You threw in the girls. I would say chicks, but girls are work, I mean, that was cool, that was cool.
Being a virtual visitor is one way to see and hear what's happening on Apple Cheek Farm. But until social media becomes a stand-in for taste, touch, and smell, the best way to learn about where food comes from is to do it the old-fashioned way and just stop by.
I haven't figured out a way to email them a steak yet, so a lot of people are still showing up for products and getting interested, so they want to understand what we're doing more, and they want to see it face to face. I don't see it as a fad. I see things could change. Right now it's Twitter and Facebook. Maybe there'll be some other type of social media in the future. But I think for right at this point in time, that's one of the top ways that farmers or any business could market and have a direct contact with their customers.
I think it's a new revolution. It's a lot of people on Facebook and Twitter that like food. And people really want to know where the food is coming from. So transparency is a key on social media. And you have to be willing to do that.
Well, since we filed this story, farmers have gotten even more savvy about food, and they might be the only people who want to know what you had for lunch. So.
Well, anything else you want to add, Will, before we finish up here?
I just reiterate that we're going to see the credits for the first time on Across the Fence. Today, our director, John Melly, not only a great director, but a good friend, and other people who are supporting the program. No offense, we see you every day, but it's just, I take a point of pride in knowing that we're going to publicly announce and award the folks who work behind the scenes. final thought, that's it.
And it's great that we all get to work together because it's a great group of people.
We feel the same way. Thanks, Judy.
Well, that's our program for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.